Hi there, good morning to you, and thank you for joining with me today. You know, there is a scene in a film that was made in the life of Ray Charles, who was blind by the age of 7. He lived his childhood in poverty, and in one scene we see him running into the house and tripping over a chair, and he starts to cry for his mother. And she stands at the stove right in front of him and instinctively reaches out to lift him. Then she stops. She stands still and she watches. And the young child stops crying. He listens. He hears. He hears the water on the wood stove whistling to a boil. He hears the wind passing through the corn. He hears the thud of horses' hoofs on the road, the creak and the clatter of the wagon that they pull. Then he hears the faint scratch of a grasshopper walking through the warm floorboards of his mamma's cottage. He inches over, and attentive now to every sigh and every twitch, he says, "I hear you too, Mama." And she weeps with pride and with sorrow and with wonder. Later he explains to someone, "I hear like you see." Ray Charles trained himself to listen. That would be wise for us too, who have our sight. To listen to our friends, to listen to our loved ones, to listen to God. And it's important to know that God does speak to those who listen. The voice of God can be an inward voice, a silent voice, a voice within the mind. God may speak through a friend, through an emotion. Mother Teresa said, "God is the friend of silence." See how nature, trees, flowers, grass thrive in silence. See the stars and the moons and the sun, and they move in silence. The essential thing is not what we say, but what God says to us, and also through us. I know I've told this story before, but it's worth retelling. One summer night, a young man decided to take a shortcut across the moors on his way to Coatbridge, where he had a job. And that part of Lanarkshire was noted for quarries, and though the night was starless and inky black, he set out. Suddenly he heard a voice saying, "Peter!" He was shaken. He stopped. He called back into the dark, "Who is it?" And there was no response, just a wind over the deserted moorland. The lad concluded that he had been mistaken. He walked a few more steps and he heard the voice again, "Peter!" He stopped, bent down to peer through the darkness and fell to his knees. He reached his hand out to the ground before him and clutched thin air. The quarry. Sure enough, as Peter carefully felt around in a semicircle, he discovered he had stopped on the edge of an abandoned quarry, one step before a fatal plunge into the deep. Out there in that desolate moorland, somebody knew him, somebody cared, and he never forgot that instant. Later he became minister in New York Avenue Presbyterian Church in Washington, D.C. He also became chaplain to the US Senate. He became a hero of mine, and they made a film about him. His name was Peter Marshall. His faith was no dusty relic inherited from his parents. It was vibrant, it was real, it was compelling. Peter Marshall knew God and listened to God. Maybe we also listen for God to speak to us. Again, well, I thank you for listening to me this morning, and God bless you.